This is breaking news about former Vice President Joe Biden. A lot of people know that there have been videos circulating with him touching and kissing young girls and women in ways that seem to make them feel uncomfortable. To this point, no one has come forward and said that it made them uncomfortable, but the videos are numerous, let's say that. Jordan's not doing this story because he is out sick today, so I saw it breaking and I'm learning about it just as you are. So I decided to hop on and cover the story because it is very important. It is very important to take women seriously and to hear what they are saying. So I'm going to read Lucy Flores' tweet, who is the person coming forward. Lucy Flores, who is a social justice advocate, former Nevada Assemblywoman, and CEO of Luz Collective. She says, "This was an incredibly difficult thing to do, but something that felt necessary. It took a while before I found the words and the support that made me feel like this was finally a story I could tell." And then she links to an article from The Cut, which we'll go right into. This had to have taken a lot of guts for her to do, for her to come forward against someone who the polls are saying is the front runner, someone who all the pundits are saying is the front runner of the Democratic primary. "An awkward kiss changed how I saw Joe Biden." And this is in The Cut, and it's by Lucy Flores herself. And it was posted at just 3:36 p.m. "In 2014, I was the 35-year-old Democratic nominee for lieutenant governor in Nevada. The landscape wasn't looking good for my party that year. There were no high-profile national races to help boost turnout. And after the top candidate bowed out of the governor's race, none of the above ended up winning the Democratic primary. So when my campaign heard from Vice President Joe Biden's office that he was looking to help me and other Democrats in the state, I was grateful and flattered. His team offered to bring him to a campaign rally in an effort to help boost voter turnout. We set the date for November 1st, just 3 days before Election Day. In a state as large but sparsely populated as Nevada, it takes nonstop travel to connect with all its residents. You're lucky to get properly fed, much less look properly coiffed, as female candidates are often required to do. I was exhausted and short on time, so decided to not wash my hair the morning of the rally. I sprayed some dry shampoo in my hair, raced off to the Reno airport, and flew back to Las Vegas. The event proceeded as most political events do, coordinated chaos with random problems that no one can predict. I found Eva Longoria, co-founder of the Latino Victory Project, roaming the parking lot trying to figure out how to get inside the Union Hall. My staff was running around town trying to purchase ferns because, according to Biden's team, no other vegetation was acceptable for the stage. And this picture is from the day of the 2014 rally. Speakers gathered and took photos before going on the stage. Flores is right here, pictured with Biden and Eva Longoria before the uncomfortable encounter. I found my way to the holding room for the speakers, where everyone was chatting, taking photos, and getting ready to speak to the hundreds of voters in the audience. Just before the speeches, we were ushered to the side of the stage where we lined up by order of introduction. As I was taking deep breaths and preparing myself to make my case to the crowd, I felt 2 hands on my shoulders. I froze. Why is the Vice President of the United States touching me? I felt him get closer to me from behind. He leaned further in and inhaled my hair. I was mortified. I thought to myself, I didn't wash my hair today, and the Vice President of the United States is smelling it. And also, what in the actual fuck? Why is the Vice President of the United States smelling my hair? He proceeded to plant a big, slow kiss on the back of my head. My brain couldn't process what was happening. I was embarrassed. I was shocked. I was confused. There is a Spanish saying, and excuse me for butchering this, Tragame tierra. It means earth swallow me whole. I couldn't move and I couldn't say anything. I wanted nothing more than to get Biden away from me. My name was called and I was never happier to get on stage in front of an audience. But then, as a young Latina in politics, I had gotten used to feeling like an outsider in rooms dominated by white men. But I had never experienced anything so blatantly inappropriate and unnerving before. Biden was the second most powerful man in the country, and arguably one of the most powerful men in the world. He was there to promote me as the right person for the lieutenant governor job. Instead, he made me feel uneasy, gross, and confused. The Vice President of the United States of America had just touched me in an intimate way reserved for close friends, family, or romantic partners, and I felt powerless to do anything about it. Our strange introduction happened during a pivotal moment in my political career. I'd spent months raising money, talking to voters, and securing endorsements. Biden came to Nevada to speak to my leadership and my potential to be second in command, an important role he knew firsthand. But he stopped treating me like a peer the moment he touched me. Even if his behavior wasn't violent or sexual, it was demeaning and disrespectful. I wasn't attending the rally as his mentee or even his friend. I was there as the most qualified person for the job. Imagine you're at work and a male colleague who you have no personal relationship with approaches you from behind, smells your hair, and kisses you on the head. Now imagine it's the CEO of the company. If Biden and I had worked together in a traditional office, I would have complained to the HR department. But on the campaign trail, there's no clear path for what to do when a powerful man crosses the line. In politics, you shrug it off, smile for the cameras, and get back to the task of trying to win your race. After the event, I told a few of my staff what happened. We all talked about the inexplicable weirdness of what he did, but I didn't plan on telling anyone else. I didn't have the language or the outlet to talk about what happened. Who do you tell? What do you say? Is it enough of a transgression if a man touches and kisses you without consent, but doesn't rise to the level of what most people consider sexual assault? I did what most women do, emphasis on that, most women do this, and moved on with my life and my work. Time passed and pictures started to surface of Vice President Biden getting uncomfortably close with women and young girls. Biden nuzzling the neck of the defense secretary's wife. Biden kissing a senator's wife on the lips. Biden whispering in women's ears. Biden snuggling female constituents. I saw obvious discomfort in the women's faces, and Biden. I'm sure, never thought twice about how it made them feel. I knew I couldn't say anything publicly about what those pictures surfaced for me. My anger and my resentment grew. Had I never seen those pictures, I may have been able to give Biden the benefit of the doubt. Had there not been multiple articles written over the years about the exact same thing, calling his creepy behavior an open secret, perhaps it would feel less offensive. And yet, despite the steady stream of pictures and the occasional article, Biden retained his title of America's favorite uncle. On occasion, that title was downgraded to America's creepy uncle, but that in and of itself implied a certain level of acceptance. After all, how many families just tolerate or keep their young children away from the creepy uncle without ever acknowledging that there should be zero tolerance for a man who persistently invades others' personal space and makes people feel uneasy and gross? In this case, it shows a lack of empathy for the women and young girls whose space he is invading, and ignores the power imbalance that exists between Biden and the women he chooses to get comfy with. Biden is a very powerful man, and he was the vice president. So, as she said, imagine if you are touched this way and kissed this way by a colleague. It's uncomfortable. You go to HR. Well, hopefully you do. A lot of women do not, but it's very important that women start to stand up and speak to the sexual assault and put it on the record. But Lucy was on the campaign trail, and as she said, there's no clear path for who to tell, who to talk to. Imagine it's the CEO of the company. It's a power dynamic there where you may not want to go to HR because that person is so powerful and because you're afraid of losing your job and all that. It's no wonder so many women let this go, because they feel like their lives will be destroyed if they come forward at all, or they second guess themselves and say, "Oh, I'm just being silly," or "I'm overreacting." And you know why? And it's because women have been told that their whole lives. women have said to themselves over and over in their head, oh, I'm overreacting again. I've got to stop it. I've got to calm down. I shouldn't come forward, this and that. And now imagine that it's the Vice President of the United States. So if you're not going to come forward when it's a CEO, are you going to come forward when it's the Vice President? I mean, there's not much above him. he he was a very powerful man and is a very powerful man, and right now is considered to be the top uh, contestant for the Democratic primary. He's considered at the very top with Bernie underneath him. So this man, and it is an open secret, everybody knows that Biden gets creepy. He is America's creepy uncle, but it's beyond that. Calling him the creepy uncle diminishes the experiences of women and children who have experienced his creepiness. He's not just creepy, he's a sexual assaulter. Lucy didn't go as far as to say that it was sexual assault, but the way he touches and kisses people as a collective, he he has to realize what he's doing. He has to understand what he's doing. And who knows if there are other women out there who are waiting to come forward. I will say on a personal level that I'm from Delaware. And in Delaware, it's like required that you love Joe Biden. But my grandfather, way back when Biden was a senator, was in the same social circle as Biden. And my grandfather, who was a wonderful man, a very wonderful man, he didn't like Biden. And I don't know why. I wish my grandfather was alive still to tell me more. But he didn't like Biden. There was something about him that was off that he didn't like. So I'm not saying it's connected, but I am saying that Biden isn't the jolly old uncle like he's called in the media. I want to go more into Lucy's article here. For years, I feared my experience would be dismissed. Biden will be Biden. Boys will be boys. I worried about the doubts, the threats, the insults, and the minimization. It's not that big of a deal. He touched her, so what? The immediate passing of judgment and the questioning of motives. Why now? Why so long after? She just wants attention. Or, it's politically motivated. I would be lying if I said I didn't carefully consider all of this before deciding to speak. But hearing Biden's potential candidacy for president discussed without much talk about his troubling past as it relates to women became too much to keep bottled up any longer. When I spoke to a male friend who is also a political operative in Biden's orbit, the first man who had heard the story outside of my staff and close friends years ago, he did what no one else had and made me question myself and wonder if I was doing the right thing. He reminded me that Biden has significant resources and argued points that made me question my memory, even though I've replayed that scene in my mind 1,000 times. He reminded me that my credibility would be attacked and that I should prepare for the type of back and forth that could occur. When reached by New York Magazine, a representative for Vice President Joe Biden declined to comment. I'm not saying that Biden broke any laws, but the transgressions that society deems minor or doesn't even see as transgressions often feel considerable to the person on the receiving end. That imbalance of power and attention is the whole point and the whole problem. So that's the end of Lucy's article there. I want to say that women deal with this stuff all the time. I probably already said that, but it's so true. I was at a dinner recently, and I was sitting next to someone who made me very uncomfortable. The person kept touching me, grabbing at me, and this was the first time I had met that person. Uh, so I think part of it, people say, oh, it's just a different generation, when it comes to Biden. It's just a different generation. That's how it was back then, forgive him, he's jolly. But it's more than that. He knows what he's doing. He knows exactly what he's doing. If he doesn't, then he needs to go back to elementary school where you're taught to not harass others, touch others, kiss others without permission. I want to stay on this story. That's all the information I have for now. More women might come forward, and if they do, I will update you. I think this is important, and I've kind of been waiting for this to happen because there have been so many disgusting videos and photos and things of Biden over the years doing this. An open secret that no one calls him out on until this amazing, brave woman, Lucy Flores. Thank you, and I will see you guys later.